Jai Hind students, today we are going to learn a new poem from your main course text No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. So let's have a look at the profile of the author James Kirkup. James Falconer Kirkup was born on 23rd April 1918 and he was died on 10th May 2009. He was an English poet, translator, and travel writer. He wrote over 30 books, including autobiographies, novels, and plays. He wrote under many pen names, including James Falconer, Aditya Ga, Gun Honda, Andrew James, Toko Kawai, Felix Lezen, Edward Rayburn, and Ivy B. Summer Forrest. He became a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature in the year 1962. So that's all about the author James Falconer Kirkup. Let's watch the animated video of No Men Are Foreign.
No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. This poem begins and ends with the same line, No men are strange, no countries are foreign. It emphasizes the fact that all men are same and equal no matter what country they belong to. All people who live on this earth belong to one human race. The uniforms worn by soldiers of different countries are different, but the human being is the same. All breathe the same way. All the soldiers are our brothers who walk upon the same earth, and upon their death shall lie in the grave in the same earth. They refers to the foreigners who belong to other countries. The poet says that everyone gets sunlight, air and water in equal measure, which means that God does not differentiate between people of different countries. All people do farming during the time of peace. They live a relaxed life and eat the things given to them by nature. The way we starve during wars in winter time is the same for those belonging to other countries. The poet says that even their hands are same as ours. They work hard just like we do. He gives all these examples to highlight the similarity between people belonging to different countries. The poet reminds the readers that God has given them eyes like ours, which open when awake and close when they sleep. Similarly, He has given them strength, which can be won through love. One thing that is common in every country is life that exists in the form of plants, animals, and human beings, and we can recognize them and can realize that they are like us. The poet says that we should remember that whenever someone tells us to hate a person from another country, then we deprive ourselves of their love, cheat ourselves, and condemn humanity. We should not consider anyone to be our enemy. We should keep in mind that whenever we pick arms against other nation, it leads to a lot of bloodshed, fire, and death. These dead bodies accumulate on the earth and make it impure. The fire and dust which erupts during wars pollute the purity of the air. He ends the poem by writing the first line in reverse and saying that, remember, no men are foreign and no country is strange. Through this poem, the poet wants to promote the concept of universal brotherhood. All men are alike, they eat, live, and die the same way. We should not consider people of other nations our enemy.
The title No Men Are Foreign means that no men belong to another country. The poet wants to say that all men are same, all men are equal. He wants to promote the concept of universal brotherhood. In this poem, the poet wants to tell us that everyone in this world is same. All people, all men are same. They eat, live, die the same way. Everyone gets the bounties of nature like sunshine, land, etc., in equal measure. We can also say that it is a peace poem. So now, dear children, it's time for us to listen to the poem first, and after that, we can move on to the detailed explanation of this poem, No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign. Beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes like ours. The land our brothers walk upon is earth like this in which we all shall lie. They too, aware of sun and air and water, are fed by peaceful harvest, by wars long winter starved. Their hands are ours, and in their lines we read a labor not different from our own. Remember, they have eyes like ours that wake or sleep, and strength that can be won by love. In every land is common life that all can recognize and understand. Let us remember whenever we are told to hate our brothers, it is ourselves that we shall dispossess, betray, contemn. Remember, we who take arms against each other. It is the human earth that we defile. Our hells of fire and death outrage the innocence of air that is everywhere our own. Remember, no men are foreign and no country is strange. Let's move on to the explanation of each stanza. In the first line, the poet says that no men are strange and no country is foreign. So he is attempting to remove the borders from the earth which have been erected to separate different countries. Then only no country will be foreign. We will feel every country as our own land. When there will be no borders, everyone will be free to move around. The poet wants to say that the entire earth is one, and all the people who live on this earth belong to one human race. Then he says that inside the uniforms worn by soldiers of different countries, the human being is the same. God has made all of us in a similar way. All breathe in the same way. Then he says that all the soldiers are our brothers. We all walk upon the same Mother Earth, and upon our death shall lie in the grave in the same earth. They in the second stanza refers to those people who belong to other countries. We call them foreigners and discriminate them and fight with them also. The poet says that nature has given all the bounties to all people, also just like he has given to us. Everyone gets sunlight, air, and water in equal measures, which means that God does not differentiate between people from different countries. We all do farming during the time of peace when there is no war. We live a relaxed life and eat the things given to us by nature. Further, he adds that the way we starve during wars and winter time is the same for those belonging to other countries. Even they don't get food at that time. So he wants to say that foreigners who belong to another country and we both are same. And then the poet says that even their hands are same as ours. They work very hard just like we do. He is giving all this example to convey to the reader that there is no difference in us and the people belonging to another country. The poet asks the reader to remember something. He says that we should keep in mind that the people of another country, whom we think to be our enemies, have been bestowed by God with similar appearance like us. God has given them eyes like ours, which open when awake and close when we are asleep. Similarly, He has given them strength which we can win through love. Then He says that in every country, in every land, there is one common thing, that is life. Life means all the things that are living. And if we can recognize them and if we can understand their feelings and realize that they are like us, then there will be no fights or wars between us. The poet says that we should remember that whenever someone tells us to hate a person from another country, to think him as our enemy, and whenever we think someone to be our enemy, then we deprive ourselves, we cheat ourselves, and we condemn ourselves. He says that we should stay away from such negativity. We should not consider anyone to be our enemy. During a war, both the parties must bear the loss, and that is why the poet says that war is not in our favor. He says that whenever we pick any weapon against someone, we should remember one thing. We should keep in mind that whenever we pick weapons against any person, we make the earth dirty because weapons kill people and their bodies, which fall on the earth, make it dirty. Whenever war happens, it leads to a lot of bloodshed, fire, and death. These dead bodies accumulate on the earth and it make it impure. The fire of war which erupts, the smoke which comes out, the dust which fills the air, it is so dirty that it pollutes and outrages the purity of the air. With all these things, the poet wants to give us a message that we should not indulge in war. Finally, he ends the poem by writing the first line in reverse and saying that remember, no men are foreign and no countries strange. Let's have a look at the summary of the poem No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. The poem No Men Are Foreign begins and ends with the same line. Remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign, as the poet wants to emphasize on the fact that all the people living on this earth are the same and that we have created distinctions by erecting borders and fences, different languages, etc. While we are alive, we walk on the same earth, and upon our death, we will lie in our graves in the same earth. He draws another similarity that we all enjoy good food during peace and starve during war and in winter time. We all have similar hands which we use to do a lot of hard work. All of us have eyes which remain open when we are awake and close when we are asleep. He reminds the reader that whenever we hate someone, we cheat and hate ourselves. Also, when we pick up weapons against someone, we pollute the earth and make it impure with the huge mounds of dead bodies strewn on it. So that's all about the poem No Men Are Foreign. Now let's have a look at the poetic devices used in this poem. Rhyme scheme. So in this poem, the entire poem is written in free verse and there is no rhyme scheme in this poem. So now we can have a look at the various literary devices employed in this poem. Alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of a consonant sound in two or more closely placed words is called alliteration. So, the instance of alliteration in this poem are, you can see that in the first stanza, in the second line, beneath all uniforms, a single body breathes. B sound is repeating in this line. And you can also see in the second stanza, in the second line, are fed by peaceful harvests, by war's long winter starved. W sound is repeated in war and winter. So again we can see that the poet used alliteration in the second stanza. Next we can move on to metaphor. So in stanza 1, beneath all uniforms a single body breathes. Uniform refers to the military of different countries, and in stanza 2, war's time is compared to the winter season. Third, repetition. So we know that the poet used the word remember several times in this poem. So remember, no men are strange, no country is foreign is repeated in stanza 1 and stanza 5. So the poet used alliteration, metaphor, and repetition in this poem. So now it's time for us to discuss the textual question answers. So let's move on to that. Beneath all uniforms, what uniforms do you think the poet is speaking about? How does the poet suggest that all people on earth are the same? Answer: the uniforms refers to those worn by soldiers belonging to different countries who indulge in wars and fights. The poet says that all the people are the same in the following ways. We belong to one human race. We walk on the same earth. Upon death, we will lie in our graves in the same earth. During peace, we all enjoy the bounties of nature. During war and in the winter season, we all starve due to shortage of food. We all do a lot of labor with our hands. We have eyes which function in the same way. In stanza 1, find 5 ways in which we all are alike. Pick out the words. The 5 words which indicate that we all are alike are: we walk, we breathe, we have eyes, we work with our hands, we enjoy the boundaries of nature. Next, we can move on to the third question. How many common features can you find in stanza 2? Pick out the words. Answer: there are 3 common features in stanza 2. They are as follows. We enjoy the boundaries of nature and eat good food during peace. We starve during war and in winter season. We have similar hands which we use for doing labor. Fourth question. Whenever we are told to hate our brothers, when do you think this happens? Why? Who tells us? Should we do as we are told at such times? What does the poet say? Answer: the leaders of any country tell the masses to hate the people of another country. They say so to fulfill their personal gains and benefits. The poet says that we should not follow them because when we hate our brothers, we hate and belittle ourselves. When we indulge in wars, we pollute and render the Mother Earth impure by laying dead bodies on it. So that's all about the poem No Men Are Foreign by James Kirkup. Hope you understood the poem very well. Hope you understood that the main theme or the main concept of this poem is universal brotherhood. So that's it. Thank you.